closed.
I've got two boys. Well, men.
No, yes, I actually had a son, but unfortunately he passed away. Love. Never loved. The office is cramped. The manager's hairline is brushing against his collar as he fiddles sweatily, pointlessly, with the CCTV. PC Hobbs looking at his radio as if he can pull answers out of it. I turn to the open door and look out into the supermarket, right along the long back aisle. There's my trolley.
Sorry?
It's in people's way. I can just see the cereal. The last thing I put in before. I'm sorry.
Mrs. Lawler?
It's 12 minutes and 44 seconds since Frank disappeared, and down at the far end of the aisle, beyond the abandoned trolley, the storeroom door opens. Through it, police officers, and one of them is stooping because there's something in his hand. And it's another hand. And through the door with them appears the little green coat, and wearing it is Frank. And this is real. This is now, and Frank tugs at the officer's hand, and the officer looks up and lets Frank go. And Frank totters towards me. And there was no abduction. There'll be no need for CCTV, and no appeal, and no counselling, and no slow horror, because the storeroom door was open for a minute, and the loading bay door, which is supposed to be kept shut, a driver had propped that open too, and no one saw the 4-year-old boy sneak out to play in the yard. And then people started looking, and Kelly went out into the yard, and Frank slipped behind the goods trolleys, and in amongst the plastic and cardboard and dumped mess of old signage which matched his green coat, and kept him hidden until he got bored and clambered out just as the police opened the door. And now he's passing the abandoned trolley with his cereal in it, and behind him the police, and behind them Kelly, and she looks mortified, but I'm not angry because my boy is breaking into a giggle, and the manager and PC Hobbs are turning to look where I'm looking, and Frank's getting closer, and I get it. In that moment, I understand. The withholding of love, the caution. What has it achieved? What will it ever achieve? And at last, I understand the irrational, the primal, the unmeasured, the not knowing. And as Frank's little hands reach out to me, I know things will change. And I don't know when, but I'll leave Alex. And I'll love my children with fear, but without reservation. And I put my arms around my son. You're alive. You're alive. We're alive.
In The Not Knowing by Daniel Meyer. Harriet was played by Louise Brearley. Therapist, Pippa Haywood. Alex, Mark Baisley. Tina, Rebecca Staten. Sophie, Margaret Caborn-Smith. Rosie, Catherine Drysdale. Supermarket manager, David Holt. PC Hobbs, Ben Crow. And Rosie's date, Tom Glenister. All other parts were played by members of the cast. The producer was Karen Rose. The Not Knowing is a Sweet Talk production for BBC Radio 4.
BBC News at 3 o'clock. Boris Johnson is to face trial over allegations that he lied during the referendum campaign when he said the UK gave the EU £350 million a week. A judge has decided that a private prosecution can go ahead. One of Mr Johnson's supporters for Conservative leader Jacob Rees-Mogg says the case has been brought by people who are resentful of the result of the EU referendum. Labour's deputy leader has called for an amnesty for Labour members who backed other parties in the European election. Tom Watson said it was spiteful to expel Tony Blair's former spin doctor Alistair Campbell for voting Liberal Democrat last week. New analysis shows that public spending per head on care for the elderly or disabled is much higher in Scotland and Wales than in England. According to the Health Foundation, £310 per person was spent on social care in England in 2016 to 2017, compared with £445 in Scotland and £414 in Wales. The former Labour Health Secretary Alan Johnson says difficult decisions need to be taken.
I get the winter fuel allowance, I don't need it. Millionaires get the winter fuel allowance. £2 billion that costs. You stop paying national insurance contributions when you're 65, even if you're still working. That's a ridiculous situation. So what it needs is the political consensus for unpopular decisions, because there will be controversy about these.
The authorities in Malta have been strongly criticised for failing to properly investigate the murder of a journalist. Daphne Caruana Galizia was killed by a car bomb in 2017. The Council of Europe says the legal system in Malta is dysfunctional. Hundreds of people have attended a memorial service for the former leader of the Liberal Democrats, Lord Ashdown. The politician and former soldier died in December at the age of 77, shortly after announcing he had bladder cancer. The congregation in Yeovil was told it was a tragedy he had passed away at a time when he had so much to contribute to the debate about Britain's future. BBC News.
Now on Radio 4, it's time for Moneybox Live with Louise Cooper.
Good afternoon. I was in my living room the other day looking at shelves and shelves of CDs and realised I hadn't had them out of their boxes for years. When I'm out and about, I stream music on my smartphone, which can also be linked to my car's sound system for when I'm driving. At home, I either play music through my smart speaker or via YouTube on my PC. And yet, I started off with cassettes in my teenage years, and the first album I bought in 1983 was Wham! Fantastic. The fabulous Bad Boys from Wham! Now, my taste in music hasn't changed. I still love bubblegum pop. But the way we all listen to music, buy music, consume music, has changed radically. The biggest change is the decline in physical sales and the rise of streaming, effectively renting music and not owning it. Streaming now accounts for around half of music industry revenue globally. So this week, we'll be trying to guide you through the various streaming services, and we want your experiences and questions. And then we're going to look at streaming from a musician's perspective. We have grime artist Chedu Araka here to talk us through how he makes a living. And I know there will be some of you that remain faithful to CDs, vinyl, and even tapes. And we want to hear from you too. So why not call Moneybox Live now on 03700 100 444. Geographic charges from landlines and mobiles apply. Or email us on moneybox@bbc.co.uk. And we've already had a tweet from @Cotio Consulting to @Moneybox. And he writes, he still buys CDs and even occasionally vinyl. With me today are Alice Enders from Enders Analysis, which is an independent provider of insights into telecom, media and technology. Hello, Alice.
Hello.
Go on, what was your first ever music purchase?
Rubber Soul.
I once had a girl, or should I say, she once had me. She showed me her room, isn't it good? Norwegian
With a classic there, Alice. Beatles, Norwegian Wood. What format was that in?
That was vinyl.
That was vinyl. Oh, do you still have it?
I think there's not much left of it.
Well, also with me is Chris Cook, Head of Music at CMU Insights, a music business consultancy. Hello, Chris.
Hello there.
Go on, what was your first music purchase?
I think my first music purchase was actually, and now that's what I call music, album, number 8. You can date people by what their first now album was. And I think you